Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. Happy Friday. I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update as to what's been happening with me and stuff that I've been working on, because I'm really excited. But the update is actually, weirdly enough, not exciting. I don't even know what word to use, but basically about a week and a half ago I had quite a wobbly 3 days. I was feeling so completely out of sorts. I couldn't motivate myself. I felt quite sad and almost like I was down in the dumps, and I couldn't pick myself up and get myself out of it. And I know that we all go through this, and I'm preaching about it all the time, that it's okay to sometimes slow down and to take a few steps back, to look forward and to look correctly in terms of where you need to go. And I always tell my clients, when I have to tell them that it's so much easier said than done. And I went through it 10 days ago, and it was so much easier said than done, even for myself. I kept trying to tell myself, you've got to pull yourself out of this. But at the moment you're in it, and it's okay to be in it, and it's okay to feel a little bit of a low frequency for yourself at the moment, and it will correct itself. But when you're in it, it's difficult, right? It's so difficult. And weirdly enough, that now when I look back on it, I know exactly what it was that was holding me back. And maybe let me explain that a little bit so that you have something practical to work with. I had a decision to make. I was going to be doing something, and everything seemed to be pointing to the fact that I shouldn't be doing it. And I just couldn't accept that I shouldn't be doing it, because I was so worried about what people were going to think of me. So on the one side of the decision was to go ahead and do this thing, even though every bone in my body was telling me that I shouldn't, and every sign was throwing itself at me to tell me not to. And then the other side was actually not doing it, but the fear of what people would think of me and what that might look like, or what I thought people might think it looked like. And anyway, what ended up happening was that I went with my gut and I didn't do it. And I came out of the other side. As I made the decision, I was so relieved and so happy that I had gone with my gut and trusted what my intuition was saying. And I immediately felt better just for making the decision. And so strange, because then within a day, literally a day, everything seemed to click. So when I tell people that you need to, those days where you're having a low frequency, you need to stop and have a think about things and look forward, because maybe the direction that you're taking or the path that you're on is not entirely right, and there needs to be a detour, or there needs to be an alteration to it in order to go into the right path, was exactly what was happening to me. And as I had made this decision, I could see the new path so clearly. And since then, I have spent about 6 days working on the new path that I'm on, and I am so excited, and I know it's the right thing. And so much of it has to do with what I'm going to be offering you guys, and what I'm going to be doing with my business, and how I've just managed to tweak little things and focus on certain things. And I have created a few new programs that are going to be on offer, and I'm going to be talking a lot about this in April, because we'll launch it properly then. But yeah, if I hadn't gone through that, I know that I wouldn't be where I am today. So, and I can tell you sitting here that I know with every little cell in my body that this is the right journey right now. So I had to change my path slightly. And it's not major. It's really not major. It was all there. It's just how to package it and how to put it together and how to focus, instead of trying to do too many things and hoping that they kind of fall into place. So yeah, I will share a lot more about that just now. Well, not just now, sorry, in April. I thought what I would do for you all is give you a little sneak preview of some of that work that I was just mentioning to you that I'm busy doing. This is how my brain works. I kind of put out all these handwritten notes of things that I want to do. I'm really sorry for the shadow that is coming over this, but these are all the notes, and this is how I decide and see all the action points that I actually need to do. So I map it all out, and there's my new programs that are about to launch. The Joyful Companies programs. Oh, I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to share it all with you. Alright, so back on track to this video. We're still obviously in the month of March, and we've been doing a lot around forgiveness and forgiving to move on. And in this video, I wanted to talk to you about how you can go about forgiving. Now, the last video, if you remember correctly, and hopefully you've done the work on it, is working out who you need to forgive and just unpacking what it is that you're forgiving. And hopefully you're on that list. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about how to go about that, because I think this is the fear as well, is that if you want to forgive, what does that mean? Do I have to go find this person from when I was 4 years old? No, not quite. I'm sure you don't remember the exact details from then, or maybe you do, but I don't. But from 7 years old, and go and find this person wherever they are in the world and like talk to them about it. No, you do not. You can do that if you really feel like you need to. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you think you need to do, you must do it. But you don't have to. So there's various ways that you can do this. And I am always telling my clients about all these different ways. Sometimes they look at me like I'm a bit cuckoo, but some of them do them. And I do a lot of these. And they really work for me. The first one is a pretty easy one. Write a letter to this person. Actually sit down, write it, or type it, whichever you prefer. Print it out if you've typed it, and you can either take the letter, put it in an envelope and post it to the person if that's what you want, or you can post it to yourself. And if you're in South Africa, the postal system will take long enough that you will have forgotten about it by the time you get it back. But that's really letting it go, popping it into that mailbox and letting it go. Another thing you can do with that is to actually take that letter, go out into the garden where you can't cause any damage, and burn it. So just hold it with a pair of tweezers, or hold it with tongs for the barbecue braai, and set it alight and let it burn and let all those ashes float into the air and go away. I do that one quite often, I must be honest. Another one is you can write an email, even to this person. So if you just need to explain where you were at. Now, in my last video, actually, I spoke about that email that I sent off to my old boss. And I sent it off with absolutely no expectations of getting a reply. And that's really letting go. It's not about what they respond. It's not about hearing back from them. It's you letting go, right? When you write it down, you could also, if it's just like a one-liner or a paragraph, write it down and fold it up and put it into an actual balloon, blow the balloon up and let the balloon go off into the sky. And that probably is not great for the environment and for the plastic situation at the moment, but that is one way to do it. Then a way that I do often, I often do this when I'm lying in bed. I find myself, I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about something that I need to let go of. And I imagine that I put it into a balloon, but it's all obviously imagined. And the balloon is on a piece of string that's tied around my wrist, and that's why I feel like I can't let it go. And I literally imagine taking some scissors and cutting that string and letting it off, so that you're not actually polluting the environment. But I let it go, and it symbolizes that thought or that problem or that issue that I'm holding on to. Another very, very powerful way of doing this is to actually have the conversation out loud, not in your head, out loud, as if you are talking to that person. So I always encourage people to do this when they're lying in bed as well at night. And close your eyes and imagine the person who's standing at the end of your bed and have the full-on conversation. Now obviously if your husband or your wife or your partner is lying next to you, it's a little bit of a different situation, but then maybe try to go to bed a little bit earlier. And have the conversation out loud. Talk to that person and tell them everything you need to say. And have the conversation 3 or 4 times if you need to. But get it all off your chest and have it out and let it go. And then once you finish talking to that person, imagine them walking away with all of that and go. And then the last one, which I've already actually mentioned a bit, is to actually call them up and have the discussion. If you need to, and if that's going to make you feel better, buck up, brave up, get some balls and do it. Because you will feel a lot better. You really, really will. And if you approach it from the point of view of, I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this to let something go, I'm not doing it to hurt you, and I'm not doing it to have a fight with you, and even say that up front in the call. I'm doing this to just get it off my chest. I need to be heard. I actually saw a guy on Facebook the other day. I don't know how, I don't know who he is. It got shared and shared and shared, which I think was his purpose. But he did a live video where he spoke about a guy who he didn't know. He didn't know their name or who it was, but something had happened somewhere, whether, I can't remember if it was a shopping mall in the street. And this guy was a real asshole. And he did a live saying, this is who you were, this is what you did, and I think you're a real pain in the butt, and you were wrong. And but it affected me really badly, and now I'm letting it go. And he said on his live, like, please share this around, because maybe, and he described who this person was. He said, share it around and let's see if he gets it. And that's how I had found it. It had been shared and shared and shared. I have no idea if he did get it, but that's also a really innovative way of doing it. But those are some ways to forgive, right? So think about who you need to forgive, and think about what it is you want to forgive, and then do the work. As I've said all along in this month, you have to forgive to move on. And it's not about forgiving for the other person, it's for you and what is important to you. But if you don't do this, and if you don't pick the things that have really moved you and that you need to move on from, you're not going to move on. And that's why it is so, so important. So please, guys, do the work and let go of some stuff that's been bugging the crap out of you. Alright, so that leads me on to the confidence tip for the week, or for this video. And it's all about, I want you to write yourself a new story. And a new story where you actually acknowledge the things that you are brilliant at, and not drag other stuff around with you all the time. So the way to do this is that you have to start by identifying what your current story is. Like, what do you tell yourself in your head about who you are and what you are, right? And then we're going to write a new story about what you actually are and want to be. And if you keep talking about the new story, not the old story, you're going to change your mindset and start focusing on the good stuff. So here's an example for you and me. My old story was that I was terribly shy, and because of that, I wasn't brave enough to talk to anybody, and because of that, nobody really spoke to me. And that made me think that no one wanted me around, and I wasn't good enough. I didn't have much to add. So I just ended up doing things on my own. I became exceptionally independent and a bit of a loner. I didn't depend on anybody. I didn't ask anybody anything. And yeah, it means that every time somebody does something that is slightly off-center for me, it makes me think, oh well, they're doing that because I'm not really good enough to be around anyway, so that makes sense. So that's the old story. That's what I used to always tell myself. And here's how I now flip it around and do my new story and talk to myself rather. So here's my new story. This is how I flip it around and how I now talk to myself. Joy, you're pretty awesome. You've done some quite amazing things in your life, and you've achieved a lot, and you have succeeded in so much. Mostly because you're super strong and you're very, very independent. When you decide you want something, you go off and you do it on your own, and you make sure you achieve it. And because of that, and because I'm so strong and independent, people want to work with me. They want me around because I have stuff to offer, and they ask me to be around. I now get to share all those lessons that I have learned for myself because I am strong and independent. I'm now sharing those with my clients each and every day. And I help them to succeed. And they want me around, and they appreciate me as much as I appreciate myself. So there you go. Can you see how you can flip the story around? So from talking about it in the negative and making the exact same things into a positive. And that's what I want you to have a think about this week. How can you do that for yourself? And then into my leadership tip. Now, this stems out of what we've been talking about, because a large part of why we are where we are is that we are so scared to fail, and we are so worried about what people will think if we do the wrong thing. Now, I worked with a man who brought out this guy from, I can't remember actually where he was, if it was Sweden or Germany now, but he basically said to me the one day in a talk that we were working together on this project, and he said to me, I want people to fail, but fail quickly, right up front. So I encourage my people to try, even if they get it wrong. We need to try all the things right up front, right at the beginning. And that's the time to fail, is to try all the things and give it all a bash, because that will mold us into the right answer and the right thing that we're doing. So I want to encourage all of you leaders today to go and put that sentiment into your team. Tell everybody, come, today we're going to try new things and we don't care if we fail. Today's the day we're going to fail quickly and we're going to try it and see where it takes us. Because all those failures will create the right thing at the end. It will give you all the lessons you need to make the best of whatever it is that you're creating. And that's a real leader, giving your team the environment where they can try and give things a bash to be the best that they can be. Because that will bring out the best in the people that you're working with. And today's two favorites are not really two. It's one, and it's my office. I have mentioned my office before, but I did so much work on it over the last weekend as well, and I added up a whole lot of pictures, and I just neatened up and tidied up, and I thought I would share it with you because my space is really important to me. I like having good space, I like having good energy around me, and I like being neat. Surprise, organized joy. So I thought I would share that a little bit with you. Now you can start by seeing these are my shelves, lots of pictures of stuff, and there's some pictures that are up of my new stuff, but let me swap you around and show you properly how this all works. So there are a whole bunch of new pictures that I just put up. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. There are a bunch of pics that I bought when I was in New York City, and I added some from when I was in Paris, the trip that I shared with all of you on this channel. But yeah, I just love them. I obviously have my pinstriped wallpaper, but I popped up some Vogue pictures over there as well. And here are my shelves that I just am obsessed with at the moment. I bought a whole lot of moleskin boxes, which you can see there on the one shelf. They are absolutely stunning. They are like picture boxes, and yeah, they are awesome. All my journals are there. Here is my little bookcase at the bottom. I have a real collection of books that are all titled Joy in some way, which I just love. I always have my Joe Malone diffuser on and my Tivoli radio. And there's a lovely picture of me and Andy. And yeah, let me show you the other side. I'm very lucky to have a very big mirror. And yeah, there is my desk space. I also thought what I would show you is this is my vision board. Can you see that? And I put lots of stuff up on there, and I'm changing it all the time, but I just love I can move it around. And then obviously I have 3 little cushions that my little munchkins live on. And then if you look through my window, it goes into my kitchen and our family room. I have a lovely atrium outside, but my little munchkins spend lots of time on there with me. And those are my favorite, my office space. Okay, so that's the end of our video. I hope that was a nice one for you, end of March. And as I said, there is so much going on and so many new things that we're going to be doing in April. So these videos might actually start to take on a little bit of a different format. But all exciting and all in the same vein, but trying new things. So if you haven't hit subscribe, please hit subscribe below. It's well worth it. You'll get a notification when a new video goes up. And that's what I want. I want to be able to share all my lessons with as many people as possible. And that's why I want you to hit subscribe. Also, all my social platforms are linked below, and yeah, go follow, because I put so much content up there, and at least you will get kept up to date. What am I trying to say? You will be kept up to date and informed of all these exciting changes that I'm about to do. I'm so excited. Oh, and I also have this amazing project that I'm actually giving the developer the go-ahead to do today. And that will be, by the end of May, that will be live. So I'm so excited about that. But I'm not going to tell you anything more about that yet. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope that you spend your weekend doing some forgiving and letting things go. And yeah, next week, last week of March, guys, can you actually believe it? But if nobody has told you today, I wanted to say I love you lots. And I hope you have an amazing day. You deserve it. And yeah, here's to a very good Friday.